You guys are really steeped in this. What would you see are the consequences on first the church and then I guess for the wider society of having imbibed this retributive, legalistic, judgmental vision of God that is confused about who Jesus is? What are the actual practical consequences that we see or we might come across on a day-to-day basis that you see as a direct result of that?
Doug, you're on this stuff.
Well, I mean, I live in the States, and in the last 40 years, America, which is probably the most overtly Christian nation in the OECD, has affected a 400% increase in incarceration and built the largest number of prisons in the history of humanity. And it incarcerates for longer periods of time under harsher conditions than any other modern country, and executes in a way only echoed by the axis of evil in militant Muslim states in Belarus, and does so in its most Christian states. And it also, everywhere you go in this country, the solution to a problem is ultimately violent.
Yeah.
And that's a false gospel. Because that's the cross without the resurrection.
Come on.
And the resurrection is where God saves you. And what God tells us in the cross is, this is the wrong way. I endure what you do to me in an act of violence. Die, terminate the flesh, this condition, and then God gives life and reconstructs all these relationships that have been torn and broken and ripped apart. So the practical effect is an approach to relationality, as you've been saying a lot, which is intrinsically kind and generous and giving and understanding and gentle and patient and self-controlled. That's where it all goes. It's super practical. I sometimes joke with my students that America's never met a problem it couldn't declare a war on.
Yeah.
But Christians should never meet a problem they can declare a war on.
Yeah.
We should be the people to whom the world turns with all its fractures and its disputes and its conflict, to show them how to make peace and bring healing. Which doesn't mean an absence of accountability. In some ways, it actually means greater accountability. The journey from hurting someone and harming them to restitution and reconciliation can be a very, very grueling emotional journey. It should be, but it's out of that reparative and restorative journey that real healing will take place. And that's what God is really asking us to do. So this is all very practical.